Hey everybody, welcome back to the Success Secrets Revealed live stream show with your host Ronald Couming. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how this show came about. First, I want to let you see we have Jennifer Diepstraten with us, and she has 20 years of experience in sales, relationship and coaching, and communication studies. It's really going to help any business owner or an entrepreneur that jumps on here today. But I wanted to tell you a little bit about why we created this show. As you know, I have a radio show called Internet Marketing and Business Solutions, 1.7 million weekly listeners. And it took us a while to build that up. Been doing it for about 4 years now. But because of COVID, they're just running reruns over there right now. So the reruns we had from years ago, every guest was relevant. Every guest was great information. But I feel that, given the time with COVID and everything else that's going on and the need to pivot and change and how people perceive you and how you present. So I created this show bringing on, great subject matter experts. And they talk about, their successes. They also talk about their failures and how they overcame those, so you don't have to hit those pitfalls. And God forbid you hit those pitfalls, you'll be able to navigate out of them a little bit quicker, hearing how somebody else did that as well. So no guest gets paid to be on this show. No guest pays to be on this show. I don't get any affiliate links if they give out a book or anything. I don't get any kickbacks. I don't pay to be on the show. I don't get paid to be on the show. We do have one sponsor, and that's my company, RCS Online Solutions. We basically help business owners and entrepreneurs attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success. Let's be honest. At the end of the day, you can have the best product, the best service, the best price, and the best solution. But if people can't find you when they're searching for your solution, then you don't have a chance to even be considered. And if you Google your name or your company's name and you come up on the first page of Google and YouTube and other search engines, I'm here to tell you that means nothing. No one's searching for you by name or by company. What they're searching for is the solution, the product, or the service you provide. So that's what you need to come up for. And that's what we do. And we get people ranked before they even pay us. We got a guaranteed service. But anyhow, let's get to, and we'd love to help you. But today we're going to talk about Jennifer Diepstraten. Jennifer Diepstraten has 20 years experience in sales, relationship coaching, and communication studies. So she understands what it really takes to inspire people to take decisive action. As a result of her expertise, she has sold over 14 million in products and services, working for world-leading biotechs and medical equipment companies. All through one-on-one sales consultations. Her one-call blueprint sales consultation system enabled her to grow her sales coaching company to multi-six figures in less than 2 years. The system she has created and teaches her students get paid handsomely for their services and products has enabled her to create a lifestyle business that allowed her husband to retire from his career in home construction and work full-time with Jennifer. Jennifer holds a biopsychology degree from Vassar College and a master's in science in traditional Oriental medicine and lives in Southern California with her husband and 3 sons. Please help me welcome Jennifer Diepstraten.
Hi, Ron. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. That's the clap track. You know how I think it's Staples or somebody has the "that's easy" button or something.
I have it on my desk.
Do you really?
I do.
I think I'm going to get one for the clap chat. And now for the clap chat. Bang. You know what I mean? So, Jennifer, I'm great to have you on here. I've known you for years, and I know you're a rock star. I've gone to several of your events, and, I've benefited from your knowledge, and I know our listeners today are going to get a whirlwind of information. And one little tidbit that you gave me is that you've already made more money this year with COVID than you made last year, and we haven't even hit September yet. So in the first 8 months inclusive, you've already made more than you made in 12 months without COVID. Can you tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, how you got started, and then just go, right into your successes today, because obviously they speak for themselves.
Thanks, Ron. Sure. I mean, here I am. I am here to serve coaches, consultants, experts, niche service providers, anybody who wants to make a difference with their work or their business in the world. I'm here to help you learn how to sell better. And, I was chatting with you, Ronald, before we got started, and I was just sharing, in the green room that we've done more in sales in the first 8 months of this year than we did in 2019. And, yay, good for me, but that's not the point. The point is that there is some real opportunity right now for businesses. And we've actually had clients in the last 3 and 4 months have their best quarters. And there are certain key factors that have to be in place in order to do that. You have to have an offer that really serves people. And you probably had to shift your offer since March, which we've helped a lot of our clients do. And then you have to be able to know how to have conversations that bring people who are interested into paying clients in a way that serves you and that serves them. So yeah, we have the results to show it. A lot of our clients do, but the real message here is you've got to sharpen up those sales skills, and you can't do it the way that we did it pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. Now, how is it that you are, I agree with you 100% that you can't do it like you did pre-COVID, but, those words are, easy for us to say, but in terms of how, do people, a lot of people had a hard time figuring out exactly what to say when it was a perfect scenario. Now, because it's not just how you think or feel. I know in my business, I do online marketing, right? So I help business owners and entrepreneurs kind of market their products. Well, a lot of people are concerned that people might not be buying, or if they sell to like other businesses, will their clients be buying? So they're kind of like pulling back. Mm-hmm. So I mean, the world has changed. So how do you help people modify their presentations or whatever it is to help them more now in COVID times?
Yeah, it's super important. I would have to tell you that when we I was on one of the last cruise ships right before, back in March. And when I got off that cruise ship, we actually modified all of our projections for the year. We actually cut our projections by over 50%, sales projections by over 50%, because we said, we don't know what's going to happen in the world. We don't know how people are going to take this. And then just in this last month, we reset them back to where they were January 1st for 2020. And I think what people are really missing is there's 2 major things if you want to be successful. And the first one is to be in not in reaction or scarcity mode. And I know that's hard to say when you're hungry or you see business falling away. But where we've seen people really, businesses really succeed is because they are creating their own opportunities, looking for ways to create your own opportunity. And sometimes that means you have to let go of the old way of doing things. Like the faster, and they show this in studies where, so my husband was in search and rescue. He was in the search and rescue team here in San Diego for about 12 years. And so I read books on search and rescue, and I love like, just reading about survival and people's their fortitude, their smart thinking, their fortitude, their ability to overcome any situation. And what you see again and again in those scenarios is that the people who are able to assess really where they are in that moment, not be swept away by thinking that they're somewhere else, people who actually get where they are actually have the most chance of survival, of living. And it's interesting because sometimes you'll read these stories about lost hikers, and they are convinced they know where they are, even though every landmark around them says otherwise. But they're so caught up in knowing, like, no, this is where we're supposed to be. This is where I thought we were. This is where we have to be on the map because that's where we were supposed to be, even though everything around them says that they're somewhere else. Those are the ones that tend not to survive. But the ones that are like, wait, we don't actually have any clue where we are. I'm not attached to where I thought I was supposed to be or where I think I'm supposed to be going, but I just get like, here's where it is now. Those are the ones that have the most chance of survival. So I don't know what inspired me to tell you that story, Ronald, because I have not ever used that analogy before. But what I've seen is when you have the mindset, first of all, of holy crud, or whatever is your version, right? We're in this new place. There's this whole new world, a paradigm of things that we thought we knew are no longer here. And yet there are still things that we know are true. When you can do that, you have the now foundation to create success in this year. And that's the first piece. Is you have to get where you are and really assess what you have and what is in the environment. Because I'll tell you, even though you thought the future looked the way you thought it was going to be, and it's no longer that way, there are real assets, there are real things that you have.
That reminds me so much of how you spoke, and it brought me back to a time. I went down to St. Croix for 2 months. I own an online marketing business, live the digital lifestyle, work wherever I want. So I rented a condo down in St. Croix for 2 months. Never really snorkeled or did any of that stuff. So I get on this cruise. We're going out. They're going to snorkel around Bucks Island. Then they're taking us for like a barbecue and all this other stuff. It was a whole day cruise on a boat. And I think it was short. It was like $40, right, for the whole day, included food and the snorkeling equipment. But when we were going snorkeling, I was sitting at the edge there, and I had never been snorkeling before. And the woman who was teaching us was saying, well, whatever happens, if you get there, you know what I mean? Don't panic, get your location, see where you're at, come up, but just make sure you don't panic. She gave me a whole set of rules, right? Somehow I drifted away because then they take us because Buck Island down in St. Croix, it's like a national park, but it's underwater. So you go and there's plaques underwater because, they got ships there from Captain Cook days and stuff. It's amazing. And it's a U.S. territory. A lot of people doesn't even know it exists. And so I ended up getting stuck in the coral. It's a big coral reef. So it's a protected area. I ended up getting stuck in it and I could not see out. I didn't know where I was going. And she said that if we went over the corals, it would shred us. The corals were just so sharp that you can't go over them. So here I am, I'm looking, and I can't see where I'm supposed to go. And I'm telling you, I was totally panic stricken. And then I just did what you just said. And I never really thought about it until you said it. I just took a deep breath. I said, okay, where am I now? All you have to do is just find the way out. And I said, just go along the side and you'll end up finding the way out because, sooner or later the side's going to end, right? And I did, and I found my way out soon. And then I got back to the boat and, they had like another hour to sit out there and out in the water. And I was like, nah, I think I'm going to sit here. But it was when I stopped and it was when I got my mental clarity about where I am and what I need to do, not about what I thought or anything else, but I came crystal clear. This is where I am, and this is what I have to do to survive. Mm-hmm. And I did. Wow, what an amazing analogy.
Yeah, and it's funny too, because it's not that we can't freak out. I think I freaked out for a full week when I got home. I was actually in 14-day quarantine in my own house. My husband had installed this big plastic sheet around my office and our spare bedroom. And I was, I have little kids. So I had, how I got to see my kids for 2 weeks was they put their hands up against the plastic, and we would feel each other's hands through the plastic. But, I brought that on myself, right? I went on a cruise, but all turned out, right? I wasn't ill. Everyone is fine. So, but I'll tell you, I was freaking out during that time. And now what I realize is my mindset quickly shifted to, I remember thinking I have two choices. And for anyone who's listening to this now, like this is where we have the opportunity, I think on a daily basis, maybe even hourly basis, is to either freak out or panic or be in a survival or scarcity mode, or to look at this shift as a real opportunity. And I made a decision very early on, which I know is why we were able to create the results that we were able to create. And what I decided was, and you'll laugh maybe, Ron, is I decided that I was going to stop doing all the things that I didn't really want to do anymore. Like my business had a lot of momentum. We have awesome year-long coaching programs. We have awesome launches that we do. And it's not that we don't do any of that anymore. We still have those things. It's just that the way I was doing them, I wanted to change. And I said to myself, there's this huge forgiveness, I think, that we have for each other inside of this time, which is so beautiful with a lot of humanity. It's like, hey, you know what? You need to reschedule that. Okay. Or you don't want to go on that road and do that thing anymore. That's okay. And I actually used it as my own personal reset to actually create what I really wanted, because I loved my business before. Now I love it even more. And so we let go of some things that weren't working that well. It gave us the opportunity to renegotiate some contracts, to relook at some of our plans for marketing during the year. It gave us an opportunity to relook at how we were delivering our programs. And maybe it's an example of what the whole world is doing, right? To look at what really you care about, what really matters and what you really want. And for me, it was my family. I wanted to be able to continue to be with my family and have them be healthy and serve my clients at the highest and deepest level. And through that, what I saw is, and I was just talking to a very, very good friend of mine who has a huge network. She's got the largest networking organization for women in North America, a friend of mine. And she was saying to me, just in the last 30 days.
What is it? eWomen Network?
Oh, eWomen Network. Yes. Sandra Yancey, CEO of eWomen Network, friend and client. She said to me, 300,000 small businesses have closed in the last 30 days, never to reopen.
Yeah, 300,000. Yeah, over 40% of all small business. That's why people, when I talk to people, they're like, they don't even have a clue what's happened.
Yeah, and I can see it because I drive down the street in my neighborhood and I can see all the shops that are. In fact, there's an alarming number that are still open, better than I expect, right? But we know this is happening, and yet at the same time, what we've also seen is some of the largest events online. Like I have clients who've done 50% more in their business in the last 3 months than they ever did before. And businesses thriving and growing. And I'm not talking about food delivery services or people that make masks, which is all great. I'm talking about people, the individual small business owner, the person who creates a service, or they're an expert, or they're a coach or a consultant of something. And what I really see is that, okay, so we lost 300,000 small businesses. Are you going to open a new one? Inside of the new, what you want to do for people, how you want to serve them, how you want to inspire people, what is your gift in the markets that need you. Because the truth is, when those businesses closed, those customers are looking for a new provider. There's actually, in a lot of sense, for those of us who are still, seeing possibility, there's a lot more business available to you because there's more people looking for you than there are businesses for them to be served by.
A great perspective. Instead of seeing the 300,000 have closed, if you're still alive, right? Or if your business is still functioning, there's a lot of people who might need your services now.
And the number of small businesses that are popping up is huge, right? I mean, a lot of people are using this time as an opportunity to go and do what they wanted to do all along, but they had to go to work, right? So I think it's a tremendous shift that we're inside of right now. And I think we have a huge opportunity to actually shape the direction of our world and our future. My people, the people that I work most closely with, are people who have a message or a mission or something that they want to change the world with for the better. And I really believe that when we can craft our like when we say what we want to do in a way that other people can hear it, that your ideal client can hear you, and you serve them through, they buy your service from you, or they buy your product from you, and then they use it and make themselves a better person. That's actually how we change the world.
Wow. And now that's great. And I love it. And I also love the way that you talked about, perspective. It really comes down to perspective. I too, for like 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, you had a week. I probably had 3 weeks or more. I was sitting there. I had just like a sense of like dread. I was like, what the heck is going on? You know what I mean? What are we going to do? I mean, they're shutting everything. I can't even go to the gym. Never mind. I had people, right? I host some people's websites. They had their entire company, right? It was actually from San Diego, a locksmith company. And he was so worried that the business wasn't going to come back. This was 2 weeks. It was like 10 days into the lockdown. And he's like, well, I just want to shut down my website, cancel my hosting. I'm like, dude, that's your entire company. And it's 10 days. So there was so much fear right off the bat. And then I started soaking it in, and I'm usually, you know me, whenever I go somewhere, I'm always laughing and joking. And believe me, it hit me for a few weeks too. And but you're right, it's a matter of perspective. So there are a lot of businesses that are going out, and it's going to happen. I mean, just like when the cotton gin, I mean, it's unfortunate. I don't mean to say, it's evolution, right? But when the cotton gin came in, when the car came, horse and buggies and the people who supported those industries, I mean, it's all about innovation and change and being able to just, I don't know if it was Einstein or Arnold Schwarzenegger, who said the strongest people that will survive will be the ones who are able to evolve. So I don't know if it was Arnold Schwarzenegger or Einstein, because I know that those two are always confused, right?
Your two heroes, right? Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. So let's talk about how to do that, because I think that's a really, now I of course I have a bias. My company is high ticket sales success. I've been in sales for over 20 years now. I got my start in biotech and medical diagnostics, and I went from being a very, very shy person. I was actually petrified to talk to strangers.
Yep.
Actually went into sales for that reason, is I knew that it would make me break through this fear that I have. I have a thing for breaking through fear, like wanting to stare it down. And I did that for a number of years, and then I left. I went from being extremely shy to being a top performer in these, $500 million, billion-dollar biotech and medical companies. And I did that for a long time. And then I left to start my own company, training people how to sell. And what I see now is that for us to really make the shift, there's a couple of things that have to happen. First, the perspective, right? You have to believe the opportunity is there and actually go search for it. You might have to bring in other people to brainstorm with, like, how can I make my business viable in this time? What do my customers now need, right? So that's the first piece. The second thing is your offer. The way the offer that you come up with has to resonate. It has to serve. And it's not just the offer itself, like what's in the package, but it's the way you talk about it. And if you sell a service or something intangible, this is even more important. If you have to have the language, the words, the specific ear-perking phrases, you've got to differentiate yourself through how you talk about your offer, because there is no other way to do it, especially if it's an intangible item. Right? You have your logo and a brand colors, and the way Ronald makes you appear on your website. And other than that, you've got words. You have words. And so much of what people, I think, are struggling with, and it was before the pandemic, and it was for the last, 20, 30, 50, 100 years, is the reason you don't sell is because the way you're communicating the value, people don't understand. So we now have to be even better at choosing the words and the language and the phrases that actually showcase why yours is different, why yours is better, why people should part with their money now.
Yeah, and that all makes sense to me. I mean, that's pretty much what we had to do previously. You know, your MVP. You know, what sets you apart? What's your unique selling proposition, and how do you present that and show the value of it to them? And you know, one of the things I remember, I spent like 10 grand going to. You know, I spent a lot of money on a lot of courses, right? But one was to learn how to speak on the stages, right? And one of the best lines and I know I paid 10 grand, right? But the biggest line I got out of the whole thing was, and what this means to you, or in what this means for you. Because if you get lost in the techno babble, right, you lose the people. You got, what's this mean for you? And when because that's what they really care about. So you've got to convey that. And so how can you give them, like, you know, maybe some tips, 1, 2, or 3 tips on how people can, maybe in now times, or just maybe it's a standard. It doesn't really matter what the time is. You know, you have to present this way, and this way, you know, whether it's whether it's raining out or whether it's sunny out, you know, you might have a different jacket on, but it's pretty much the same presentation, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I'll speak specifically to actually when you make your offer, like when you are in a position, because that's what we do. We train sales. We train you how to make offers and do it in a way that feels congruent and works for you and for your prospective buyer. So I'll talk specifically about the offer. And I see this all the time. You really have to start with the transformation or the benefits to the customer. Now, you might have heard that before, but I'll tell you that the more specific you can get, the better. Because if I say, you know, and here's how this will help you, you're going to make more money and save time. It's just not good enough. It's just not good enough. Those words, basically every business on the planet can boil their transformation or benefit to their customer down to save money or make money, save time or peace of mind. Right? It's pretty much every business's main benefits. And the truth is that it's just not specific enough. So the first thing is, when you share that transformation, you need to get more specific. And the way you can do that is to look into, how does your ideal client or customer specifically verbalize what their problem is, right? What do they specifically say? Do they say, you know, I really wish people who, or here's, I'll do mine. It's so frustrating for me when people who I'm just salivating to work with don't buy, right? That's a really specific thing than just saying, oh, I really wish I could have more sales, right? Or in your case, Ron, maybe yours is, you know, I really wish that I had this website that totally just was so awesome. People came back and visited it again and again, right? Like, we have to get more granular with the transformation or the benefit. And so that's the first piece. And the second piece is to always do that first. You have to share that first. You can't share the price first. You can't share how you're going to go deliver it to them. You know, like all of the mechanics or the technology of their service delivery. You can't do that first. Most people get stuck doing the service delivery. They never get to the benefit.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, because I can tell that, you know, especially earlier on, I would talk about, if you have your SEO, if you have your website, if you have your call to actions, if you have this, you know what I mean? So I would start on that opposite end. So I think a lot of people might that. And what you want to start with is talking to them right off the bat about the benefits and how it will help them, and not give them the same generic stuff that every other company is.
Yeah, everyone's looking for your point of differentiation. We have a system in our company that I've developed over a number of years where it's really an inside out process where we're really pulling out what is unique, specific, and highly attractive about you and your offer. It's completely unique to you. It doesn't matter if there's 10 other people in your networking meeting, your virtual networking meeting, that do the same thing. You will sound different because you actually are different. And if you can't see that, like why you're different, like if we put 2 insurance salespeople next to each other, if you can't tell the difference between you and the person standing next to you, neither can your customer.
Right. Very good point. And they have to know the difference between you and somebody else. And can't just be that they like you better than somebody else. Sometimes that's good enough that they know, like, and trust you. But sometimes it really comes down to the ROI. I mean, what are they going to get for what they're paying, especially in this time where people are probably a little nervous on actually spending money because they don't know who else is willing to spend money. For me, one of my biggest things is when I stopped in my sales presentations, when I stopped selling and focused more on serving, I found a big shift in the conversation, even in my intention, how I felt, the way I felt physically, in their response to me. It was more like we're doing this together. It's not that I'm doing something to you or for you. It's like we're in this together, and this is what we're going to do. I was serving them, so my business got a lot better just on that. And also, when I started focusing on ROR, return on relationships, opposed to ROI. I've just done work for several people at virtually at cost, just to get their testimonial videos and access to their networks, for them knowing. I told them up front, I mean, I'll do the work for you. If you like what I have to say, tell your people. And they're like, I don't have to pay? And I'm like, no. And they're like, absolutely. You'll be surprised. Some of the people who make the most money, and I'm talking, over 100 million, right? Some of the people who make the most money, they really don't like to spend money, but they love to make a deal. But the thing is, right, they have such a vast network that I don't care. What am I going to get? $100, $1,000, $1,500 off one person? It's never about the one-offs. It's always about that return on relationships, doing such a great job for somebody that they go out and tell 10 other people, so.
It's so true. And I think that I have to say a lot of businesses are experiencing much lower expenses during this time. So I think it's a huge opportunity for us to serve people at a much higher level. Sales really is about serving. And if you can get your mind shifted over to knowing that sales is serving, and if you can't see a way to serve this person, don't sell it to them, right? And then you can stand in the integrity of knowing that when you do make an offer and you do collect the money for the service that you're going to provide, that you can hold it in high regard, that you're going to serve and they're going to be benefited, and you've created this win-win relationship. And then it feels amazing. Then you don't have to worry about feeling pushy or feeling like you're not doing a good job. And I think it's a whole new paradigm. And we really, in our company, have been doing this for a number of years, but now we see it more and more. There's a whole new paradigm for sales. And the old way of doing it just isn't, people aren't too savvy. They know, they can smell a bad pitch coming a mile away.
Nice. I love it. Anything you'd like to say in closing? You have a giveaway here, right?
Yes, actually, I do have a gift for your listeners, Ronald, which is the high ticket selling book. High ticket selling book. It just needs a high, HIGH in the front of it. Yep.
Ooh, I wonder what happened.
And high ticket selling book. And it is 9 secrets to increase your fees or maintain your fees and magnetically attract clients. How do you sell inside of this new paradigm in a way that serves both you and your client? You bring in ideal clients who can't wait to work with you. So 9 secrets to increase your fees. And the URL is HIGH ticket selling book.com.
All right. Let's get rid of that comment. Is that a comment there? We got the high ticket selling down the bottom one. That's correct.
Yep. Exactly. The banner that's going across the bottom that's scrolling by, that's the right one. Yep. Yeah. And it's great because then you can look at the 9 secrets. I mean, I talk about how do you do sales from authentic place? I outline my specific steps for how do you actually have that conversation. You can't be scripted, but you don't want to wing it either. So I have my 7 specific steps in the conversation that you really want to touch on before the offer.
Jennifer, you're a rock star. You've done tremendous. And one thing I've noticed, and I've known you for, I don't know, probably four or 5 years now, but in your bio is pretty much the same. And it talks about the 14 million that you sold, right?
Yeah.
But, and that's amazing. That's, that's amazing that people have sold 14 million. But think about all the clients that you've helped. What I'd like to see in your bio, an update on how much your clients have sold, because I know it would be at least probably 10 times that. I even remember Molly when she first came in there. I mean, one day she's, I see her, hopefully, I don't want to say, but, then pow, she's making, she made almost like 600, she made almost 6 figures in her first month or two, right? So, yeah. I mean, you've got a lot of people who you've changed their lives and made a ton. Just your bio, I mean, I might want to tweak that a little bit if I was you.
You want to add it? Yeah, we started tracking this year. It's so hard to keep track of everybody's numbers, but inside of our mentorship community, we've actually started having people turn in those, they track their numbers, but we don't always get them, but we're starting to now. So, and actually I do need to update that because that was from my corporate life actually. And since then, millions since in our own company. So I don't know. The thing is, it's for me, the dollars really represent units of transformation. So you're right, Ron. I think we should go find out how many units of transformation we've made in the world.
Exactly, because when somebody hires you or works with you, at the end of the day, that helps them, it helps their family, but it also is one of your unique selling propositions. My clients have made over $60 million. I personally have sold over 18 million. When you add in your business and the 14, but my clients collectively have sold, over, 67 million and counting. And that was as of last Tuesday. You know what I mean? We'll refresh the chat next Wednesday.
Right. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. Great idea.
You guys still loving California?
Yeah, actually, we are buying a house out of state, so stay tuned on that. Yeah.
What state, if you can say?
In Idaho, state of Idaho.
Probably no state tax, right?
Very well, no, not none, but it's definitely less expensive than Southern California. Yeah, no surprise there.
There are so many people that are moving to Las Vegas, where there is no state tax, in Wyoming, and it's only like a 3-hour drive to LA. So yeah, California, it's a lot of taxes, but also the fires, man. I hear there's so many fires going on. But anyhow, you've been an amazing guest. Is there in closing, is there anything you'd like to say?
Just remember how valuable you are and what you have to offer. It doesn't matter, whether you have your job or whether you have your business going the way you thought it was, you have a lot of value.
You're amazing, Jennifer. I've known you for years. I'm grateful. I've learned a lot from you and the people that you surround yourself with, and good quality people. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye for now.